You want to preview some tight ends, buddy?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So, look, I know your column is up, your article on this, I should say, and you and Tom have been breaking down the position groups. And here we go. We've got a little tight end preview, and I got excited to know that I was sitting in tonight to talk with you, A, just because I enjoy it, but B, this would be the position group that I'd like to talk about because I think they've got some depth there, Ira. I think they got some real talent at the position, and I think tight end is a lot of fun. Where do you want to start? You want to start with what we know or what we don't know? I mean, Randy Pitman at that group, I think you and I both believe is going to be very productive.
Yeah, that was a big acquisition. I don't know that people really gave it the attention that maybe it warranted when he decided to transfer to Florida State along with Gus Malzahn, his head coach at UCF. And because, listen, I mean, his numbers were solid at UCF. They're not like they didn't jump off the charts. It's not like he had 70 catches or 60 catches at UCF, but he was a main part of their offense. I think he had over 30 catches last year. Mm-hmm. Don't have the numbers in front of me, but was very productive. And we did get to see him up close and personal. At the one scrimmage we went to, he had a play where it was pretty nice, man. He had one play where he got the ball in the open field and just hurt a linebacker's feelings. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
We don't have to single the guy out. But Randy Pitman, man, he packs a punch. So what I like about him is, and you got the sense this when we talked to him in the interviews we did with him in the spring, man, he's just very no-nonsense, a football player. I mean, he just comes across like a football player. And at that position, the fact that he knows Gus Malzahn's offense. I mean, listen, Landon Thomas was impressive as a true freshman. Amari Williams is impressive as a true freshman. They've got some other guys there that we like that we're going to talk about. But I agree with you, man. I think Randy Pitman was a big addition, and I think he's going to be a big part of this offense.
32 catches, 416 yards. So he also had a 80-yard touchdown day. I got it mixed up, but it was the same guy. Randy Pitman has had productive games in Gus Malzahn's offense. And you get a sense from listening to Gus that he likes that kid.
To me, he's kind of I'm not going to say Jaheim Bell-ish. I don't know if he's quite the same athlete, but similar in that you could do a lot of different things with him because I think he's played running back in his life. You can get the ball in his hands. He's not just a guy who can make a catch and get out of bounds or slide. I mean, he is a physical player. And he's also, I think he's got just some toughness about him, which is if you think about that team last year, the receiving core and the tight ends, there just wasn't a lot of toughness.
So what you just alluded to allows me to skip a little bit here. We need to talk about Landon Thomas because he's going to be a good player, and we both know that. But Amari Williams. So people are going to want to know, we know that he largely concentrated on defense in the spring. Yet I really liked, obviously, what he brought to the table at tight end. Ira, do you know that there's a chance that he could play both ways? Do you know whether or not they will consider that? They may pay lip service to it, but what are your thoughts on how Amari Williams, because we're going to include him in the room as a two-way guy. Do you think he'll play a lot of time? I mean, a lot might not be the right word, but do you think he'll get opportunities at tight end?
I think he definitely will. Just from talking to Gus Malzahn as much as we have in the interview settings, then also the things we've seen him say in camp settings. When Gus Malzahn is very much a believer in it's about the players and get the best players you can get and get them opportunities to make plays. And so I can't envision a world. Now, I think Amari Williams is going to be a big part of the defense. I think they like him as a pass rusher. I think he's going to be a nice weapon there. But we saw what we saw. And they've seen what they've seen. And it wasn't just in a few limited, the opportunities he got in games last year. It was in practice. I mean, he is the most, I think I said it last year and people were kind of, I don't know if they were surprised I said it or wondering why I said it, but I stand by it. It's been a long time since I recall a player tight end of Florida State with as much natural pass catching ability and athletic ability as Amari Williams has. I know Landon Thomas was a higher rated recruit as a tight end. They've had some other highly rated tight ends, but man, I just think Amari Williams is special. So if he's physically able to give them what they need at defensive end and play some tight end, yeah, man, I think Gus is going to demand that they get him over there, because he can do things that nobody else on that tight end room could do. Now that it's a good group, you like it. I think you mostly like it because a certain former tight end is no longer there anymore. I think you had a grudge for some reason.
I don't know about a grudge.
You were not a big fan of somebody in that tight end room in the past, but
yeah.
No, I just think he's special. I mean, I don't think you have anybody else that can do what he can do. So the idea of him standing on the sideline when you need plays made, I don't have any doubt he's going to play a good bit on tight end.
So that brings us back to the bigger name coming out of high school as far as that position goes, and that's Landon Thomas, who we also both like. I was impressed with him from day one when we watched him. And of course, last year we could watch practice, and he had several big moments right off the bat, making plays down the football field, really good at locating the ball. Kind of almost a receiver-like ability to locate the football down the field in traffic. He's 240 pounds, 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in there. I would imagine he's going to be play bigger than that this year. Go ahead and project Landon Thomas in this offense.
Yeah, to me, I think he's probably 1B to Pitman. I mean, I think Pittman's your probably top tight end, but I think Landon could have been that guy if you couldn't have gotten Randy Pitman, but you did. So now it's probably 1A and 1B. I don't think there's a huge drop off there. And I think Landon has some physical tools that Randy Pitman probably doesn't have. And he's a big target. I thought he made some contested catches last year. Again, going back to Amari Williams, just think of that first touchdown catch he had last year over the middle, where he just goes up and snatches the ball. I think it was just the first one. He only had one or he had two, but he had that one, the one I'm talking about over the middle, where he goes up and snatches, a rocket. And that's just, man, that is not normal. And so you need guys that can make plays like that. But yeah, Landon, I think his big target, I think it's going to be a great comfort for those two guys, Pitman and Landon Thomas. I think are going to be great comforts for Tommy Castellanos, because, you think about the plays where, he's buying time in the pocket if he needs to, moving the pocket a little bit, and you got the tight end dragging with him, rolling with him as they develop that chemistry. Man, it's such a great outlet to have. And then those are guys that also can do something when they get the ball after the catch. And so, yeah, I think those guys are going to be a big weapon. We've talked a lot this spring about the receivers because, Deuce Robinson's a fun player to look at, and Squirrel White, and you're excited about what that group could become after how bad last year was. But that tight end room really could be as important as anything for Tommy Castellanos in the passing game.
Well, we'll get to the 6'6" Chase Loftton in a second, because they're over the moon about what they think he will be in due time. I wonder how much he'll be that this year as a true freshman, but measurables are amazing. You're right. You're talking about an Amari and a Landon at 6'4" and 6'5", and a Chase Loftton at 6'6", and Amari, who I mentioned already, but even if you throw like a Marquiston out there at 6'5", 270.
Yeah, man, he did look a whole lot better physically in the spring. There's no question. He lost a ton of weight from when he was at Arizona State, but he's still a question mark. I mean, listen, when he left Florida State, and I love Marquiston Douglas, big supporter. I think you and I both would love to see
He's a talented player, Ira.
Yeah, no doubt. And you'd love to see him become that guy. But if we're going to be honest here, when he left Florida State, they weren't heartbroken because he, as talented as he is and as big as he is, he had gotten really out of shape. He was not in what he needed to be in shape-wise. Then he goes to Arizona State, and I think, maybe made some progress there, but didn't do anything. He caught one pass at Arizona State, kind of fell out of the rotation there. So now he comes back to Tallahassee, and he lost all that weight, and that's great, and he looks good. But then at the end of the spring, he flirted with the portal again. So, I get it. If for fans, and I'm sure the coaching staff, and Mike Norvell has defended him every step of the way. Whenever it comes up, he's defended Marquiston and said, I don't really worry about all that. I'm glad that we have him. And that's awesome. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much you could say, yes, we're counting on him to be a guy to catch 25 passes or to be a big factor for you when it's been so all over the place for the last 2 or 3 years. Hopefully the story ends well, but I don't know that you could bank on it. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are.
I don't expect him to do anything. I don't see him filling a big role. I like Marquiston Douglas.
I hope it works out for him.
Me too.
I do, but yeah, I mean, if you were putting money on it right now, I'd probably lean towards the way you're looking.
Yeah, I just think he's so far buried in the depth chart between Randy Pitman, who's going to get a ton of balls and going to really be the feature guy, I think. And then, I don't know, you may not agree with that, but I think he will be. And then Landon Thomas, and, they love Chase. They keep talking about Chase. He's 6'6", and he's a little lean. He's more of a receiving tight end right now. I think he's 225 pounds, something like that. But I don't listen, if Biscuit's a big-time contributor, it's going to be as a blocker, right?
Well, I would say, let me say this. The one thing I would say, though, is you do have, we'll see what Amari becomes, how much Amari plays. And Landon still is his second year. He's not been counted on for a good team. I think there's a difference from making some catches on a team that's awful and there's nothing to win, nothing to lose. It was like sandlot football with that offense after the first few games. It was just like, can anybody do anything? Can somebody make a play? And so I don't think
there's to the tree.
You're the bottle cap. There was no pressure on anybody. And so this will be different. If you're playing in a game at Virginia on a Friday night, now I'm not saying that's a big game, but
you better win it. You got to win it.
You got to win it. So it becomes important. Yeah. That game is close. Or certainly the Miami game. You might feel better with Marquiston out there than Chase Loftton, certainly, or maybe even Landon or Amari. So I think there could be opportunities for him. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be the feature guy. I don't think he's going to get the first cracks, but I think it would be good to keep him around because sometimes it's nice to have that veteran presence from a guy at least has been on the field in those games before. I'm
rooting for him. I like him. I think he's a good kid, and I always enjoyed talking to him. He's funny. He's way too athletic to be 275 pounds. It's ridiculous. Right. I would love for them to find a way. You're right. He's got a chance, especially, though, as an inline blocker. He's a big kid. We don't have anybody else that looks like him anyhow. Chase Loftton, last one. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on Chase. We went to the scrimmage, and, he caught a few balls. He close to the line of scrimmage. So they were limited that day. We know that, and I don't want to give away secrets or anything like that. But he was being utilized at the very least, and he's got a huge catch radius and all those things. I think he's going to emerge as a big target, but I don't know about this year. So your thoughts on Chase Loftton? They can't stop talking about him whenever the tight end room comes up.
Yeah, no, they certainly love his athletic ability. There's no question. When he got here, I know he went out to in the tour of duty workouts. He was a guy that I remember give Michael credit. Michael heard whispers early on as soon as Chase Loftton got here because he had covered recruitment so much that when he went to tour of duty, there was a buzz about him in tour of duty, and then it continued into spring practice. We heard a lot of really good things about it. But to your point, man, that is, I feel like tight end's probably tougher than wide receiver to get on the field and really be an impact player as a true freshman because there is more physicality. If you're going up against linebackers in coverage, they're going to have probably 20 pounds on him. If you're going up against, safeties, they're going to be faster than him. Then if he has to block, he's a guy that probably didn't do a whole lot of blocking in high school, I'm guessing. So, this is going to be a year where you'd like him to kind of grow and develop. But if you can get him in some mismatches where you can just take some shots with his athletic ability, I think they'd love to. He is a talented kid. But yeah, I think that position is demanding for a true freshman.
So red zone wise, Ira, you think about the possibilities of Deuce out there with a Chase Loftton at 6'6" to go along with Amari, or as you said, Landon. Yeah, you got some dudes now. You got some height out there. Well, we'll see. I'm kind of curious. That's a position group. Would you say, Ira, since we're talking tight end here, would you say that that's the group that you feel the best about their depth?
On the offense?
Yeah, I mean, running back. They got 700 running backs, but we don't think any of them can play.
There's hope that a couple of them can play.
I like Sawchuck coming in. I know he can play. Obviously, the freshman in Croma, they're excited about, as they should be when you look at his tape.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. If you go across the offense, if you look at the offensive line, I think you feel pretty good about that starting group. Not so sure about the backups, especially at tackle. Running back, like you said, there's a lot of guys, but maybe not too many dudes after you get past the first one or two. And then receiver, you really like that starting 2 or 3. you don't know so much about the depth behind them. And then a quarterback, obviously, there's going to be a big drop off from Tommy. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the position that there's most depth. And honestly, I think the fact that, again, I like the fact that Gus is about players more than plays. I think he's more of a players than plays guy. I think he wants to get the ball to players. I think he'll take advantage of some of that.